body for volunteering in New South Wales. Grow communities and bring people together through volunteering.
Welcome to the Local Legends podcast, where we share stories of untold community spirit. I'm your host, Charlotte Bosler, and joining us today is Kevin O'Donnell, JP, who'll be sharing his experiences volunteering and becoming a Justice for the Peace. So you have an extensive volunteering career. Let's start with Blood Bank. What do they do and how did you get involved?
I started with the Blood Bank in 1969 when my son was first born in Tamworth, and I was waiting for him to be born. So I went round and knocked on the door of the Blood Bank and have been knocking on the door of the Blood Bank ever since, 54 and a half years later. And have accumulated around 627 donations of whole blood and plasma.
That's amazing. That's fantastic. What does a typical day volunteering on the mobile unit look like?
Well, first we get in there and set up, we've got a big mobile trailer and that's delivered to the site where we're at. So then the staff arrive and set up the computers. I can then get out the iPads, get a list of people who are going to come to donate. Then I will greet them outside, ask them the appropriate questions about their health and then where there's any COVID, give them a drink of water, set them up on the iPad to answer all the questions. And then once they've done that, they will then go up to the girls who will then do the final interview before they donate blood.
Yeah, wow. So a lot of helping and interacting with the community. That sounds great. What were some of the challenges you've faced or experienced while volunteering with Blood Bank?
Well, like a lot of places, we've now gone digital, so we're using iPads and everything is on the app. Now, the older members have got a card. I've still got my original card, but if you didn't have a card and you're a new donor, so it all has to be on the app. But a lot of them are finding, the older ones particularly, difficult to download the app. And sometimes we have to help them or get their grandchildren to download the app, because if you haven't got a card, the app is the only way to donate now.
Yeah, wow.
Moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And so tell us about how you might overcome that challenge. So you said you might have people help to download the app. Have you thought of are there any other strategies that you've been able to use to kind of help people to connect when they don't have a card?
Well, we're going to go up and get a temporary card from the mobile unit. They just print off one off the computer upstairs, and that gives them things so that then I can then scan that card, brings the client up, their name or whatever, and then they can start asking all the questions that they require for a complete blood donation, because we've got the strictest blood in the world, and we ask a lot of questions and make sure that everybody is up to scratch. And we can even take the English people now that were in England during the mad cow. It's taken a few years, but it's about 18 months now that we can accept those in the UK. And I think they said there's around 10,000 in Australia that were there at that time. Crazy.
Wow. So it sounds like there's a few options when it comes to being able to access the blood bank. And it sounds like things like medical history and the long-term effects of that can have an impact, but it's great to see different changes or changes over time. And tell us also about Care Flight. So you've been volunteering with them. What inspired you to start volunteering there?
Well, it was actually an RMI serviceman that came at home back in 2001. I was rewiring the trailer and run out of battery. And he noticed I had a CB aerial on. He said, we've got a rally coming up in a few months. Why don't you come and join us? So that was the second rally. The first rally they did in 2000, they had 8 vehicles. We had 15 in 2021 and then went up to about 25. So I did 3 week rallies. We were doing around 2,500 kilometres all over the countryside, raising money, calling into schools, shopping centres, having a lot of fun with like-minded people that wanted to raise money and support CareFlight, which was the first aeromedical rescue mission in Australia. They're actually bringing the doctor to the emergency scene, where a lot of the other helicopters, surf rescue and whatever, do a fantastic job, but they didn't have doctors on board. They just had crewmen that could rescue you, and yes, a paramedic that could assist you. But we had a doctor from day one, so it was like bringing the emergency room to you at the roadside or wherever you may be needed. And that being helicopter, it's very quick to get to where you're needed.
Wow, it sounds like very important and amazing work. Was there a particular moment when you were volunteering with CareFlights when you felt like you were really making a difference?
Well, yes, when you go out and look for donations from businesses and whatever. The last rally we did, or full rally we did, 3-day one, it was out of the Central Coast. Even had the mayor there to send us off, as well as the local radio and newspapers, and pulled in $6,000 worth of donations on the shirts from the local Holden dealer and other businesses around. And a number of those are still donating to us today, like Robson's Civil Projects, still a regular donor with us. And I've managed to pull in a few big donations over the years. They were looking at night vision goggles, but they didn't fit the original helmets. So we had to get special helmets to fit the night vision goggles. So over 3 phone calls over 10 minutes, I managed to pull off a $6,000 donation to buy 2 new helmets. Central Coast Holden at the time made a donation of $5,000 by adding $1 to every service they did to buy a portable ultrasound for the helicopter. And we have a club CareFlight program, which we run every year. Platinum donations, gold donations, silver, bronze donations. And I was at a JP conference and talking to one of the doctors who was there as a speaker. And over lunch, I spoke to him about CareFlight. He said, send me some details. I was going away the following Monday. I got an email on Tuesday that said that he had done a platinum donation of $12,500 for talking to him for 5 minutes.
Amazing. That's fantastic. It's a huge impact. And, you know, in fact that you've had, and I'm sure also by allowing CareFlight to have a huge impact on the community as well. And when we said you have an extensive volunteering career, we meant it because you also volunteer with St. Joseph's Workshop. Tell us more about your role there.
Yeah, I finished work in 2014 and then saw the workshop opportunity over there. So I joined in 2016 and was just a volunteer like so many others. We've got 50-odd volunteers there from all walks of life, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, just general people that want to help. And we make furniture there out of scrap materials for sale in the shops, and also go out to welfare. And since being there, then after COVID, we had to reassess everything. So I was asked to join the management committee. We set the workshop up totally COVID safe. We were the first venues to actually open after COVID. And I'm currently minute secretary and also treasurer now of the conference. So I run the Thursday workshop. So we work from 7 till 12 of a day, 5 days a week. And like last year, we produced over $200,000 worth of goods to go into the vintage shops or welfare, and all out of volunteer people.
That's fantastic and really exciting that you were a COVID safe workshop that you were able to be the first to open. That's fantastic. And throughout your volunteering experience, what skills has volunteering helped you to grow and develop?
I think with my sales and marketing background and in pharmaceuticals, I've been able to use that and share my definitions and volunteering, and just being able to work with people at different levels. Because being a manager, I mean, you've got to be able to talk to people at all different levels. And when I was a sales manager and whatever, I always felt that I was happier out in the field working with the guys than just sitting in an office trying to direct things. A bit like the pilot. If he doesn't know what's going on in the plane, it's not much point in flying the plane.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it sounds like in your roles, you've been able to interact with a lot of the community. You've been able to make a big impact in the community. You've been with Care Flights for over 20 years and Blood Bank for over 50 years. Tell me, why is volunteering so important to you, and why do you keep coming back?
I think it's something that was instilled in me from my parents, after World War II and whatever. And there had been the Depression before. A lot of people were there helping people here, there, and everywhere. And I started working with my father, who was part of the St Vincent de Paul, on the salvage trucks and whatever when I was about 10. We used to go around the streets and collect paper and bottles and clothing. Whatever, used to do that 2 or 3 times a year. Started from there, and I mean, it's just been instilled with me from my parents, I'd say. And I mean, I enjoy trying to help other people.
Absolutely. What does that feeling feel like? Like, why do you enjoy helping other people so much? What is it about that experience?
I think it's the satisfaction that you've been able to assist them in whatever it may be at the time, like Care Flight, collecting money. I mean, I just did a quick tally a little while ago of the money tins that I've got 21 around the coast. I've pulled in just on $3,000 in the last 12 months, just for the 5, 10, 20 cent pieces and whatever. Sometimes there's notes in there. Helping people, guide them through, like at the workshop. New people come in, so you show them what the procedures are, work through them and work with them to thing. We've set up workflow charts for every product area that we're doing now, so that basically anyone can come in, pick up the work instructions and start making things. But I mean, we actually sit with them and make sure that they understand what we're talking about, and just guide people along. I mean, and then you get the satisfaction of the end results of what they've produced. I mean, my son's a carpenter, and when I told him I was going to the workshop and making furniture, he sort of laughed. He said, "What? Do you remember how to hold a hammer?"
That's cheeky.
being sales and marketing, not blue collar, being white collar, so to speak. But I've always liked tinkering and whatever.
Yeah.
And he's, on his side, he's won awards for his work in Queensland in the building industry. So probably some of it's rubbed off somewhere.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And as a fellow marketer, we love to get our hands dirty as well. We can.
Yes.
That's great. And it's wonderful to hear that it's been so satisfying and rewarding to you. Given your very impressive volunteering background, what motivated you to become a Justice of the Peace in particular?
Well, actually, my father was a Justice of the Peace, and I can remember in the old days we'd often get the local sergeant to come round to get a warrant signed or all the rest of it. And when I was working at a major pharmaceutical company back in 90, we only had 3 JPs in the whole company, and we had a lot of documents that needed to go to Canberra. They had to be countersigned, etc. So I thought, well, perhaps I should take it up and do it. So I did, and then became vice president of the local branch at Ryde. And then we moved up to the Central Coast. Initially, I couldn't volunteer then because the meeting night was the same night as our Rural Fire Service training night on a Thursday. But then I took over, started going back in around 2008, I think it was, and have been president of the local branch since then, and also have been marketing director of the association since 2016.
Amazing. That sounds fantastic. And it sounds like volunteering is almost second nature. It's great to hear it, and very heartwarming, I think, to know that there is that kind of community spirit out there. For someone new to the term, what is a JP or a Justice of the Peace, and what does it involve to be one? Okay,
so Justice of the Peace can actually trace the history back to 1345 under Richard the Lionheart.
Fantastic.
And they were, in those days, keepers of the peace, and quite often gentry and whatever. But we are actually a statutory officer of the Governor of New South Wales, even though we are a volunteer. So, yes, we're employed by the Governor, but we don't get paid.
Yes. Okay.
So, to become a Justice of the Peace, anyone over the age of 18 can apply. There is now a 20 questionnaire test. Now, as a JP, we must get 100% on that test, where a lawyer can pass at 50%. But it's all on the handbook, which is downloaded you can download from the internet, or you can buy a copy for $15. So it's a multi-choice question. So it's an open book exam. So you can go through, and if you get one or two wrong, you can go back and redo them. We have had some people do it multiple times. Last time I redid mine, which earlier this year, I got one wrong. It was only just the way they worded the question. Put a couple of words the wrong way around. Oh yeah, okay, that one's right. But I got 95, went back and redid it and got to 100%. So so that's a 5-year test. If you are declared bankrupt, you can't be a JP. You have to resign. You can't have a criminal record. But anybody who's upstanding in the community, has clean record, over 18 can apply. And I think a lot of the younger ones could add it to their CV. Going to university and whatever, when they come out, they put it on their CV. Would be a great advantage in industry that they're a JP.
Absolutely. Volunteering is definitely a great pathway to employment in many ways. So what sort of roles and responsibilities would a JP perform?
We witness documents for people that may need them for all sorts of things. I mean, leave forms, certification of a document that they need their license certified as a true and accurate copy, copies of birth certificates, passports. We do statutory declarations where we confirm that you are the true person, that you've got to produce ID for it. We've either known you for 12 months or we confirm your identity, and we confirm your face, that is from the top of the forehead to the chin to the ears, that is a true likeness. And if we don't know, haven't known you for 12 months, well, we then certify you by your driver's license. Then we sign affidavits for court. Now, when a magistrate sees an affidavit signed by a JP, can virtually take that for granted that the information provided there is true and correct, because there's 13 steps to actually sign off an affidavit. Firstly, we've got to confirm that it is an affidavit and what's there. Sometimes you might get some annexures, and then you have to number all those, initial all of those. I signed off one chap's superannuation program for him. It was 160 pages. And then he said, yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Then his wife said, oh, did you want the other copy done? And I'm thinking, oh no. He said, no, it's okay. It's all right. Just the one copy is fine to send off, and it's good. So there's a lot of things that, nurses or teachers moving from one school to another have to have all their documents certified as true and that to hand to the new school, even though they've got them on record in the department or whatever, but they have to present each time they go. So, we run 11 desks on the Central Coast, the lower end of the Central Coast every week, and we're signing over 2,000 documents a month just on here on the Central Coast.
Wow, that's incredible.
So you look at the number of documents JPs have signed in the last 6 years, it amounts to over 2.6 million documents.
That's hard to comprehend. It's a big number to think about, isn't it?
We run roughly 130 community desks, signing desks a week in libraries, shopping centres around the place, so that people can easily find a JP when they want it. Because they say, oh, you can never find one. Well, there's plenty of us around, but you just got to keep looking. But there is a register online with the Department of Community Justices. So by postcode, if you're looking for one, put your postcode in and it'll come up with the number of names and a phone number, and then you can just ring any of those. But it's quite satisfying that you've been able to help someone certify that all the information they're providing someone is true and correct, send documents back overseas for verifications and whatever. There's swag of stuff that needs to be authorised these days, and particularly with this identity theft and fraud, we're very conscious of what we're signing.
Absolutely. It sounds like a very varied role. You get to be involved in different types of documentation, be familiar with different types of documentation, and to put your name down, to sign off that this is true and accurate. It's when it comes to teachers, there's a safety element. There is a, keeping the integrity, I guess,
Yes.
of the community and the people in the community. So that's a really interesting to learn more about the JP program. What sort of people or organizations might come to a JP?
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of things. I mean, sometimes we'll get forms from solicitors, and now, of course, the self-divorce papers. They can bring those to us, and they don't even both parties don't have to be there. Although I was working on the desk the other day, and the wife came and she said, "Oh, my partner will be here shortly," sort of thing. Sure, he came about 10 minutes later, so we signed off both of them individually for a divorce. They could then file it and just go through the system. Government departments need authorisation of documentation. Sometimes also they won't produce what we call the jurat, where we've got to identify them correctly because they put their logo on the top and other bits and pieces. Then there's no room for the full jurat. So then we have to turn around and put that on the back of the form or on a separate and make sure that that's signed off.
Right. So it sounds like there's people from all backgrounds who would be interacting with a JP, everyone in the community. Yes. So what would happen if the community didn't have JPs? What would happen? What would that look like?
Well, you'd be looking to go to a solicitor or a notary republic, which are very big in America, but not so big here. They're not a lot of them. But to go and see a notary, it's going to cost you around $200. Go to a solicitor, get something signed. He's going to charge you because they charge out by the quarter hour. So it's an added cost to people that we are providing this free service to. And looking at the volunteering revenue that was saved by the government last year, I think from memory it was $39.7 billion was saved by volunteers across New South Wales. And JPs are putting a large percentage of that in when you think of the number of documents we sign. That you'd have to go to you go to the court and get the court registrar or court officer, and a lot of them will sign the odd document, but they're not going to sit there and sign 80 or 90 pages, 150 pages of a document, and they're going to charge you because they're employed by the state.
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you think it's so important that this service be accessible? Who would be impacted if this wasn't accessible?
Well, virtually everybody would be impacted because at one stage or another, somebody needs something certified, something confirmed that this is a true and accurate copy that they're producing. I mean, okay, your mother passes away or your father passes away, you've got a death certificate. Now you have to send in paperwork to the Department of Birth, Deaths and Marriages about things. So that death certificate has to be certified. You're not going to send the original because you've got to send it off to multiple agencies. So, a death certificate confirmed that this is a true and accurate copy. You're changing your name. So you've got your original birth certificate or your marriage certificate. Now you want to change your name. Okay, this is the original. You present that to the department. So, I mean, Service New South Wales does have JPs and they're part of our affiliate program, but you can imagine how many extra hours you would be lined up in the Service New South Wales office for a JP to be signing all this paperwork. They'd have to employ added staff to accommodate if we were not available.
Yeah, absolutely. It's clearly a really important role and service to have accessible. So it's great to know that it's out there. And in terms of becoming a JP, who might enjoy being a justice and what might they find most rewarding about the role?
Well, I think all ages would find it interesting. I mean, it's not for everybody. But, there's a lot of retired young people out there that are looking for things. And as we said, it'd be great on their CV. People who have retired that maybe JPs and, what do I do now? Well, join the association, New South Wales Justices Association, online, nswja.org.au. You can join online. And if you're working on our community desks, you're covered by indemnity insurance if anything happens to you. And you meet other JPs, you discuss. We have monthly meetings around the state. There's around 30 branches around the state. Monthly meetings, you can talk to other JPs, different things that have come up at a desk. You can say, well, should I have signed that or should I not have signed that? Or what's your thoughts on this documentation? And then there's changes in regulations. And with COVID, we brought in audio-visual signing. So I could sign a document for you. You've got a camera on your computer. You send me the document on email. You then turn your screen down. I can see you sign it. You then email that to me, because the first document you've emailed to me, I can check that everything is correct on there and it's all in order. You sign the document your end, email it to me. I can then sign it and email it back to you. And we can be anywhere in the world doing that. We could be in adjoining rooms in London, for argument's sake, in a hotel.
Yeah, fantastic. So it sounds like when you're a JP, you get to interact with people from everyone from the community. You get to do a lot of problem solving. If you really love knowledge and staying up to date with the documentation, it seems like that would be another reason to join. It sounds like there's a lot of rewarding aspects of the role. If someone was interested in becoming a JP, what training and development does the New South Wales Justices Association offer?
Well, we've got what we call a learning management system, which is an online program which we're just updating to meet the new handbook that just came out at the end of last year, and changing the format of it so it's easier, and they'll get a certificate on that. We do have a training team as well that do online Zoom trainings on different subjects, affidavits, certifications and whatever. We also, each branch has a training officer in the branch. So they usually, I know we do a training session each month, 20-minute training session on different topics, so that we're keeping JPs up to date and making sure that we're all understanding the information that's coming across the desk to us.
Yeah, fantastic. It's great to know that that's there if someone was interested in joining. So should someone become a JP at the start of their volunteering career or at the end, or what would you say to that?
Whenever they're available. I mean, the younger we get them, the more likely we are to keep them. At the moment, we're starting to lose a lot of the older ones because they don't want to do the test. They're not comfortable with computers. And they don't want to do the test. So yes, we are starting to lose some of the older ones. But I've still got members who are in their late 80s working on our desk on the Central Coast, and have been doing it for many years. 88, 90, early 90s. We just had beginning of last year, we actually had a centenary birthday for one of our members. She's no longer doing the desks, but she only stood down from the desks about 18 months ago. No, but probably 2 years ago now. She stood down from the desk. But we had a 100th birthday for her, and the town crier happens to be a member of our branch, so I got him there to present her 100th birthday and certificate and whatever, which was great. So, but older people that are looking for something to do instead of sitting home watching television or just reading a book all day, get out and talk to people, because we cannot give legal advice. We are not qualified to give legal advice. We can send them to the Law Society or let them know where solicitors are in the area to go and talk to them. But anyone who's looking to want to help in the community, it's a very, very rewarding field to work in.
Amazing. So you can become a JP at any time. Is that what I'm hearing? Yes,
from 18 onwards. Some people don't do it until they're 50s or 60s. Some of them might have been a work JP and now they've retired. Well, yes, they can then join the association, come and work on our community desks, and gain added experience and enjoyment of using their JP knowledge.
Fantastic. So if we take into account your volunteering career where you've developed all these skills, you've overcome so many challenges, you've had such an impact in the community, and being a JP and clearly finding it such a satisfying role, what's one thing you would like to see more of in the future in your communities?
I'd like to see some more of the young people come in and join the association, become a JP and join the association. Come out and meet some of the community and be rewarded.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we have time for today, but thank you so much for sharing your volunteering experience and telling us a bit more about what's involved in being a JP. If anyone wants to get involved, they can reach out to the New South Wales Justices Association or the association in their state.
You've been listening to Voices of Volunteering, presented by the Centre for Volunteering. For resources, tools, training and news, head over to our website volunteering.com.au.